Well, good day, folks, and welcome to Joe Flex News. And we're going to be talking a little bit about Bill Murray and his recent romance or really recent relationship he had with this woman here, Kellis. Her name's Kellis. I've never heard of this lady, but you know, you learn something new every day, right? Well, anyway, let's talk about it. So, Bill Murray was apparently dumped, it says here, by this lady after a whirlwind relationship. And I'm not surprised it was a woman. Usually it is the woman who dumps the guy anyway, isn't it? In a relationship, so can't say that's a shock, and plus he's much older than she is. But I think that it's kind of odd. Here's another picture with them when they were together. But it is kind of odd to me that they're actually were together to begin with. Okay? You know, because okay, so because really, like, I mean, the age difference. Come on, people. That is that's a big age difference. Excuse me. So that's a shocking thing, right? Let's continue on. It was only 2 months, and really, I'm trying to think. Was she really just? Did she really want to be in a relationship because it was Bill Murray? Maybe that's the reason. Or is it because he has money, or is it because she needed some sort of stepping stone to be in the limelight? I mean, I'm, we don't know the motivation. Did she really have chemistry with him? Could have been those things, but I mean, I'm starting to think it was the last one. That she would needed a stepping stone into the limelight. Everyone has their own personal motivations, folks. So I think that's what happened here. It's interesting because this reminds me of a movie actually Bill Murray was in about 20 years ago. Kind of a similar deal. It's called Lost in Translation. Certainly a must see if you haven't seen it, because in the movie, uh, he's got this relationship with this woman who's like 20 or 21 in the movie, and he's in his 50s, like 52 maybe, and they're not romantically involved in the movie. It's you really have to watch it to understand what's going on, but it's a very different kind of dynamic. Okay, I mean, even though they're not really romantic, I think they might get a little close. I'm not sure. I can't. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but that movie is kind of similar to age difference there. Even though he was 52, she was 22 in the movie, it is still a little odd, even to have a kind of a friendship. So that's where borderlines on that paradox about that age discrepancy when you are dating somebody out there. So here's where I question this kind of thing. I think there's an old equation that says, who can you date according to your age? And it's like, if you remember, or if you've never heard of it, it's, let's say you're 44. We divide that by 2. Then you add 7. That would be in your dating range. Anyone who's at least that age. So that means you would be able to date somebody who's 29, right? Yeah, at 29. All right, I guess that could work, actually. that could work in some cases. But let's say somebody is 60. Now you divide that by 2, it's 30, add 7, 60 and a 37-year-old. Does that work? Does that work? See, I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure, but that, according to the formula, it could work. All right, so we'll say it works. Let's go to 70. 70 divided by 2 is 35. You add 7 is 42. Kind of like Bill Murray, right? He's sort of in that range. But does it really, really work? This is 2023, folks. 2023. Things have changed from the last few years. And I'm not so sure this age formula holds up anymore with this current climate we live in society. So I have a better idea. And it's a simple one. Oh, and by the way, that age formula also works the other way too. Let's say you want to date somebody older. You're 30. Oh, what range can I do? Well, I think it's something like 30 minus 7 is 23. You double up that age, so it'll be 46. 30, is that right? 30 and 40. I think that's right. Yeah, it's subtracting. You subtract the 7. If you're 40, you subtract 7 is 33. Then you multiply that by 2, 66. So a 40-year-old could date a 66-year-old. I suppose that's how that works. Well, anyway, let's go back to my age formula. I think would work better today. And again, it's very simple. It's just deducting plus minus 10 years either way. So if you're 50, you can date a 40-year-old at least, plus. And vice versa. You can also date a 60-year-old. Isn't it much simpler and much more in sync, or doesn't it fit in more with today's social dating climate, or the stereotypes of today with the men and women that are going on, for the last few years? I think that's a much more interesting formula to just say that. Yeah. When you're younger, though, you have more flexibility, of course. If you're 40, you could probably date a 25-year-old. However, to be more, with this sort of inclination of how it should be, I would look at it as more, still you should stick to the formula. Even if you're 40, you should still say, I can date a 30-year-old, I can date a 50-year-old. If you're 20, if you're 20, you can date anyone. I don't think there's any limit then. But, that's what I mean. It doesn't always count for the younger generation. But when you're in your 40s or 50s, this is where this thing applies. So let's say you're 60, you gotta know I can date a 70-year-old. I can date a 50-year-old. Same for if you're 90. You can date a 100-year-old, or I can date an 80-year-old. Stay within your range. Okay, another example would be Bob Barker, who was just in the news. Bob Barker was almost 100, but his girlfriend was 80. That's acceptable. Okay? That's not too disparagingly. So I would say, folks, that that's the new formula I would recommend everybody use. And we get rid of the old formula. Because it just doesn't work anymore. Now, I'm not saying that to discourage anyone. I'm just saying it based on how society is today with this social norm. You can see it everywhere. You can see it in the news. The last 5 to 10 years it's been changing. It's not something I'm preaching or getting on a soapbox. I'm just saying I have seen based on the way things are going. In the next 10 years, the things will change all again. Who knows what it will be? So this is what I want to say to everyone out there. That's what we have to look at when we're thinking about dating is really what is acceptable and what isn't. Let's think about that. Alrighty, folks. If you like my idea for this new formula, comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you think this is a good formula, or just go ahead or if you like the old formula, that's fine. Or your own formula. Write whatever you want. I want to hear your ideas. All right, well, I guess that's going to do it for Chillflex News today. Bill Murray is dumped by Kellis. So that's what we covered. All right, everyone, take it easy. We will see you next time.